The Christian and Byzantine Museum opened in 1914 to highlight the artifacts of the Byzantine period. With artifacts ranging from the early 3rd century AD to the late 19th century, it demonstrates the effects that Christianity had and continues to have on Greek art. Following chronological order, the first room begins in the early 3rd century AD, just after Constantine the Great legalized Christianity. With small artifacts like pots and jewelry bearing religious symbols, the first room demonstrates how quickly Christianity began to influence everyday Greek life. As you move down to the next level, you begin to see the transformation of classical temples into Christian basilicas. These remains mark the beginning of the height of religious art during the Byzantine era. It is amazing to see artifacts from places like the Parthenon, which was transformed into a church in the 5th century, and recognize the many changes that Greek architecture has gone through. Moving on into the lower levels, you can see the many changes that religious art has gone through and the many forms it took throughout the Byzantine Empire. With pieces collected from Egypt, Italy, and Turkey, it is evident religious art had a vast reach throughout Europe. My favorite part of the museum by far was the room filled with the frescoes on wood. And one of my favorite pieces was this mosaic of the Virgin Mary from the 13th century. There's also a room full of fragments of wall frescoes, all from the same church in Evrytania. The next rooms depict the Franco-Byzantine era that began after the Fourth Crusade, which is characterized by heavy Western influence. The museum does a great job depicting the changes that not only the art went through over the centuries, but also the historical events that caused these changes. The two areas that follow held some of my other favorite pieces. The first being original journals of monks and even some of the early Bibles made with the printing press. The second area held the sketches and even perforated templates that the 17th century artists used to create intricate paintings. I loved this because it made the painting seem even more beautiful, knowing all of the practice and preparation that went into each piece. As the museum moves into more modern pieces, they only become more intricate. The robes, processional pieces, and gospel coverings are even more ornate than those that preceded them. Another one of my favorite pieces can be seen in the very last room. Although it is only pencil and charcoal, this mural of Jesus has some of the most beautiful and intricate details in all of the museum. Overall, I loved this museum. Even if you are not religious, the art is still some of the most beautiful I have ever seen and can be appreciated by all. It also represents a huge era of Greek history and explains why modern Greeks have such deep religious ties. It is certainly helpful in both understanding and appreciating modern Greek culture. It is a huge museum, so I would set aside a good amount of time to explore all the nooks and crannies, but it is absolutely worth every minute.